Hello, everybody, and welcome to Short Pit, a NASCAR podcast. I'm your host, Caleb McChesney. Alongside me, as usual, is my co-host, Chris Prince. Chris, how are you?
I'm doing all right, sir. How about yourself?
Just peachy. As you guys can see, we are a member down. Cam's on vacation. Figured this is probably the week to do it in between two road course races. But BR is still here. He's been here every single episode. Never
Yeah.
missed one. So hopefully I just didn't
But
jinx him to having a huge stomach bug next week or something. But
it, I actually do have. Now that I think about it, I probably won't be there next week. But that's
yeah, it's just Sonoma. It's fine.
yeah.
But we had the Chicago street course to go over. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about Sonoma. We'll talk about how our bracket is dead in the water, like it has been the last couple weeks, honestly. And yeah, some other things that we'll go over from there. But yeah, let's just open it up. Chris, SVG, the winner in the Chicago street course, probably the final rendition of it. What did you make of it? The race itself? Go nuts. The floor is yours.
Yeah, I think it was what we expected it to be like. We kind of speculated it'd be follow the leader for the most part, and that kind of seemed to be what happened. Maybe not SVG the whole race like we anticipated. We got to see a few drivers up there leading,
Michael
but
McDowell.
yeah, Michael McDowell of all people. So I mean, six lead changes among five different drivers. There weren't no battles for the lead often. Once someone got away, it felt like it was just hard for them to close that gap back up for whatever reason. But yeah, I mean, it was just another road course or another street course, I should say. This
Where
point.
SVG comes out on top for the last
Yeah,
five.
exactly.
BR, what anything that you're taking away from it?
Yeah, I mean it was fine. It. You casually had Bowman and Bubba, in there like Hagler versus Hearns at the end of the race randomly. So that was fun until he got until
Yeah,
Bubba
we'll
got
go in a
spun.
little deeper on that coming up for sure.
I'm not sure all that's really necessary, but yeah, no, it was fine. Yeah, it was just an average road course race, which is kind of more boring than an average race, I guess, at a different intermediate or even plate track or whatever. So yeah, it was one of the races of all time.
Yeah, I thought it was a little more entertaining than I expected it to be. It wasn't like it was SVG belt to ass, but it wasn't as belt to ass as Mexico City. It wasn't drawn out. It was the right amount of laps. They cut it. I think it was like 75 laps total. Um, it was perfectly fine. The weather stayed away just long enough, and I thought it was an okay race. You had some interesting battles through the field, as we talked about. Um, yeah, it was perfectly fine. I think in person the vibes were awesome with it from everything that I've heard. So that brings the question: do we keep coming back to this? Like, should they? I think we all know that they're probably not. With the San Diego street course rumored to be in the final stages of getting done and completed, with Chicagoland coming back from the dead probably next year. I don't know if that's officially announced or not, but we're all kind of feeling that way. Um, BR, do you think that this is a place that they should keep coming back to?
I mean, I'm kind of indifferent to it. I really am like, if they did, okay, I wouldn't really complain about it, but I also am not going to be too upset. Admittedly, it did look cool, when going with the camera when they would go down, and you would see them racing through all the buildings and stuff. That was kind of cool, but like other than that, I don't really see a whole lot of reasons to keep coming back to at least the street course. Obviously, like you said, probably it'll be replaced by Chicagoland, which is cool. But so yeah, I am personally indifferent to it. If it does come back, okay, whatever. I won't complain. If it doesn't, okay, whatever. I won't complain.
Chris.
Yeah, I mean, similar kind of shares there. I think the question is, like you mentioned it, like the vibes in person are really good. Is that what you want? Do you want that experience? Because I feel like the racing's okay. I mean, it's not the best. It's really cool though to see them, like BR kind of touched on, racing through the streets, seeing the skyscrapers. Just the initial vibe of just the whole thing. Denny kind of said it. He thinks it's a market that they need to be in because of that reason, right? It's great for PR and stuff. I'm not sure. Like I wouldn't be upset, but I think I would be kind of more excited to see maybe a different street course. Like there's been rumors of like San Diego or something. I like the idea of a street course, but maybe Chicago's ran its kind of run right now.
Which is it's weird because I don't think a lot of people who like are open to the idea of Chicago street course. Like the people who don't like it are gonna say, yeah, it's run its course, move on. But the people who are at least indifferent to it, I don't think anybody's like you said, nobody's pounding the table on this podcast to get it off the schedule.
Yeah.
If it meant bringing back Chicagoland, sure. But if you had to pick between San Diego and Chicago, like Chicago's not broken. You know what I mean? You don't need to fix something that's not broken. And it's been successful so far. Obviously, there's the concern with NASCAR putting down $50 million a year to host that thing. Money
really
is money.
How much it is? Does it really cost $50 million?
That's what they said. Yeah,
roughly.
Dang.
Yeah.
I think it's probably a little less this year because they toned down the laps.
Yep.
They're not holding the street as long, but the first two, I'm pretty sure were 50 million per.
Yep.
I imagine San Diego is going to be just that, if not more.
I've read, I don't know, again, nothing official with San Diego, but I saw that's the kind of sway point there. San Diego is willing to put a little bit of funding in on that.
Oh, well, there you go. Yeah.
Oh, well, then, yeah. At that point,
but I also think that's a good thing because you can have like a traveling street course, every 2 years, 3 years, go somewhere else and make that like your 4th of July event. Because I feel like that's kind of like when I was listening to the teardown after the race was over on Sunday, like Jordan and Jeff were like, yeah, this has become like our tradition on the 4th of July. We go to the street course in Chicago and interact with a bunch of new NASCAR fans, a bunch of old ones. And I think that like that's a good thing to have.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that they should keep doing street courses. I'm with you guys. I'm not offended if Chicago stays. Drivers love it. Kyle Larson said that this is his favorite event on the schedule.
It's just really cool to see them, like even on social media, walking down the streets to the track, or to the garage area. Like it's a cool kind of like thing that we need.
It's an event that I would go to.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, as a NASCAR, and that's me being like raised in the old timey NASCAR fan type of household. Like I'm here for it. Like if I had the opportunity, definitely. It'd be cool to go see.
Yeah, and I mean, a street course is the only way that there'd ever be a prayer of having a race in Denver. So yeah, that'd be cool.
It opens up options too. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I think racing in Denver when the mountain's behind it, that'd be sick.
Right.
Yeah, and I mean, Denny Hamlin came up with the idea of basically like a street oval. So basically kind of like just a rectangle, right? And doing it with Colfax would make it easier to do that because Colfax in Denver, it's the longest continuous road in America. It's 26 miles long. So like you can use that as like your main straightaway of a like a rectangle. It's kind of weird to say it because it's oxymoron-ish, but like that rectangle oval, oval street course type thing, you could use Colfax as that. I don't know. I'm just trying to get a race in Denver. Ignore me.
No, we're here for it. We'll push that agenda with you.
Yeah.
All of us have NASCAR tracks in our backyard besides you, so
yeah.
I got the Magic Mile. Chris has Atlanta.
Yep. I've got a couple in my backyard. So.
How close? What's like the next closest one besides Atlanta?
Talladega, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, where
Have
I
you been?
live at in Georgia, I'm close. I'm right there, kind of in that same driving distance. It's I think maybe an hour and a half further to Talladega than it is to Atlanta for me. So
Have you been?
no, never been to Talladega. I've been Daytona, Atlanta, Bristol. That's it for me so far.
So you're
Talladega's
saying
on.
so what you're saying is we got to go to Redneck Coachella at some point.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that's basically what it is. Redneck Coachella.
That's what I've heard. I'd be a little intimidated going down there with my Yankee accent. But yeah, I think we're all in agreement that street courses are good for the sport. It's a good way to bring in new fans who like that. I think that's what they like about F1 is that on some of these courses they're racing through the city itself.
Yeah.
And I think that will help bring in new fans and maybe open them up to the idea of racing on ovals. Like these cars do more than just turn left and floor it. It's not that simple. I think that street course gets them in front of eyes, and they're like, "Oh, this is really interesting." So I think that they're good for the sport, whether that's in Chicago or whether that's going to be in San Diego. I don't know if I would be open to doing both.
Yeah.
That feels like a little much. We don't need more road courses on the schedule. We honestly need less.
Yeah.
I feel like that would kind of water down, I don't know if special is the right word, the uniqueness of a street court race.
Absolutely.
If you're doing a couple of them in the same year. I feel like it should be just do one on this weekend a year, but rotate every 2-3 years where it is.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that would be wise for sure. I say less road courses. Let's talk about SVG putting belt to ass in 3 road court or two wins, right?
Yeah, 2 wins now,
and probably 3 on the way with Sonoma. SVG is already probably a top 3, maybe even 1 road course racer of all time. It's already being debated. Chris, do you have any thoughts on that?
I mean, you kind of said it. You can debate it. I mean, I grew up seeing like the road course ringers, like Boris said, and stuff like that come in, and he far passes any of that. Like a ringer, he's way better than a ringer ever was. So yeah, I think the thing that maybe you could argue, you have to just designate him the best road racer. You can't just throw him up there as like one of the best drivers, because there's going to be people out there that are like, oh, Gordon and Stewart have, what I think it's like 8-9 wins, something like that on road courses, and all the ovals and stuff they have. That's where you kind of have to walk the line with a lot of your purists, I guess. But yeah, he's definitely making his argument for being one of the best road racers we've seen in NASCAR.
BR, I can't imagine that you disagree, so I'm going to punt this to you. I'm going to punt you a new question. Do you think that maybe I know regardless, like this, it was probably needed anyway when I'm about to pitch, but like, do you agree that we probably need less road courses on the schedule?
Yeah, probably. I mean, they're just not the most interesting to watch, frankly.
And especially now, because there's going to be one driver who's putting belt to ass on all of them, so long as he doesn't wreck.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna, not to say that like, oh, there should. I'm not claiming that this is what you're saying, but like, there should be some road courses, of course. But yeah, it's not necessary to have how many we had, like
5?
I think it's 6 actually, if you include the Roval.
Coda, Chicago Street, Mexico City, Sonoma, Watkins Glen,
Roval.
See, there's no need for
the Roval needs to be shot like into the sun. Like that's been over with since like 2021. Like we're good.
The Roval and Sonoma, they're never getting rid of Sonoma. But if it was me running it, those are the 2 I would get rid of. They just are not
They're
good
snoozers.
watches. Yeah, they're snooze fests. It's not fun to watch them.
And I said this even more so now that Shane Van Gisbergen's here and he's putting belt to ass on everybody. As long as he doesn't wreck. Because last year he did wreck. Chris, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I'll be interested to see like how he does at Watkins Glen and Sonoma, because those aren't like his stereotypical like road course that he's known for. Like, yeah, I still think he's going to be fine, obviously, but
almost won Watkins Glen last year if Busher didn't put the nose to his ass.
Right. So, I mean, I don't think he's not going to be in contention, but I think the Cup guys know those tracks a little better, and they know how to prepare for those tracks more so than a Mexico City, especially, where he can just naturally go in and use his ability. He's going to have a lot more competition preparation-wise at Watkins Glen or Sonoma, but definitely, the street courses, things like that, that's where he's going to excel. That's what I think Justin Marks put the money on, on him for, because he sees that NASCAR wants to have that kind of involvement. And if he can knock down, heck, if he wins another race, that's half of the road courses he wins this year. If he doesn't win another one, that's enough to put them in the top, 16 in points. And that's a nice chunk of change at the end of the year for that charter and that car. So,
Pierre, anything else to add on the SVG road course discussion, or can we move on to our little tip from the weekend?
Yeah, well, no, we can move on.
Alrighty, so with about 8 laps to go, we saw the in-season tournament kind of peek its head into the racing of it all. We saw a pretty intense battle between my guy Alex Bowman and BR's guy Bubba Wallace. They're battling for like a P6 or a P7 at that point.
I want to say, don't quote me on this. I want to say it was like P8.
Well, Bowman finished P8. I want to say it was a little higher than that.
I see.
May have been.
I think it was like a P6, a P5 or a P6.
Yeah, because you both were right there in the top 10, and then I know after Bubba spun, and then didn't Alex get turned two or get knocked out of line and lost a spot or two? I feel like.
With the damage with his car from the exchange, he just couldn't keep up with everybody else.
Gotcha.
Alex was on fresher tires along with Bubba's teammate Tyler Reddick. They're climbing through the field, and they get into the top 10. They reach Bubba Wallace. A battle ensues. Tyler Reddick kind of breezes on by. No big deal. And Bubba and Bowman fight it out for a good 3/4 of a lap. Trading paint. Chris, what did you make of that exchange? Do you have any thoughts? Blame game, finger pointing, all the fun stuff?
I think that's what NASCAR wanted. They wanted this in-season battle to give you storylines like this. So I think it plays into what ultimately the goal of it was. Blame game, I think, that can go either way, because you had spotters telling people, we're not playing it easy with this motherfucker. Take it hard, go into the corners. You can play the blame game, but ultimately, it's racing, and that's what they were doing at the end of the day.
So no dirty moves by either guy.
I don't think what Bubba did was the greatest, obviously, but at the end of the day, they're racing for a spot for contention. What is it, $1 million? I think they get roughly. Yeah, they're racing for that $1 million contention spot there. 8 laps to go. You're not going to win. Might as well see if you can move on into that. So,
anything?
Yeah, I wouldn't. It wasn't the smartest thing what Bubba did, trying to clear himself, but I certainly wouldn't say it was dirty either. Just, it wasn't smart, but they were going for it, and he lost. Shit happens. It is what it is.
I think, as far as this goes, I'm going to focus on Bubba because I think we're all in agreement. Alex was just kind of getting put in the wall, and bumper cars, no big deal. But with Bubba, I feel like there's a couple things. The first thing is, I'm not saying you have to let Alex go, no fight, but at a certain point, you got to see the bigger picture here. You are on the cut line battle with this guy.
Oh, I agree.
And you sacrificed 15 points because you were racing too hard. You cleared yourself over Bowman's nose and wrecked yourself. You finished 28th instead of what? At worst, you were going to finish like 15th.
maybe.
Probably higher than that. At
Yeah,
that
probably
point.
higher than that.
Well, that's what I meant at worst. Was
At
like a
worst,
top 15 finish.
Yeah, no, it wasn't smart. I know it was not. It was not the one. The one thing I would counter on the cut line point is that odds are we're probably gonna get one other winner at some point. So at that point, like the cut line isn't really where it is now. So that would be the one counter.
No, for sure. But
no.
If you don't wreck, even put Bowman aside, you're still fighting with Busher too. There's three people who are going to be on this cut line battle, and now Bowman has like a 37-point advantage.
I know. I agree. I'm not saying. I'm not saying that's wrong. I agree. It was not smart. It's just that the one thing that I thought of that like might have impacted the decision to send it is that basically like, well, we're probably the cut line now is probably not going to be the cut line in 2 or 3 weeks. So how much of it is it really affecting it? Because we kind of were already in the situation where realistically you probably need a win anyways to make it. So yeah, so I agree with everything you're saying, and I'm not trying to disagree. I'm just saying that might have been something that impacted the thinking of, well, how much is the cut line really relevant right now? Now, obviously, yeah, if we missed the playoffs by like a point or two, then yeah, this was the main reason why. Well, not the main reason. It was
it's
probably
going to be one of them. I feel like for sure. It's
yeah, the main reason is the month of May where we just finished P30.
Were we at Pocono before the street course?
Yes. No,
okay.
Atlanta.
Oh, Atlanta. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I need to look. I'm looking up the point standings after Atlanta before last week.
Yeah, they lost a good amount of ground. I know that. So it wasn't. So I agree with what you're saying. It was just trying to play devil's advocate there.
Yeah, it was a 23-point advantage between Bubba in 16th and Priest in 17th. They were 16 points behind Bowman, and 29 points behind Busher. That's if you have one or two more winners, we move that cut line down. If you got two more winners, like let's just say two, it's going to be Reddick and then Busher, Bowman, Bubba, and now it's a tight race between Priest and Bubba. Now it's a 2-point advantage going into another road course, which I know Bubba's been improving on road courses. I don't know if Sonoma's one he's gotten any better at. I need to look.
Yeah, I don't think he did great.
His average finish wasn't that great when I looked this morning, but it was right after I woke up. So
20th, 17th, an expired engine in 22 led him to 36th. So
yeah, I mean that's frankly a bit better than
better than I thought for sure.
Yeah. So it wasn't smart. I agree that at the end of the day, they probably should have just not necessarily like let it go or whatever, but like,
no, give him a fight. But at some point, you gotta like look at it and say, okay, he's got fresher tires. He's able to drive the crap out of this thing. Like I can't.
Up until when he tried to clear himself, I don't feel. I was like, that really was the only one where I'm like, all right, what that was not the move here. Everything else was fine, but at that trying to clear yourself for one spot was not the move in that situation, and we took the L for it. So yeah, it is what it is.
Well, and then it was that, and then I'm a little upset, not as much because Bowman was probably going to fight into that top 6-5 had he not gotten holed up and damaged so badly. And that exchange ruined. Not want to say ruined his day because he still finished 8th, but that 8 could have been 5th. And I don't know where the points are at now. I don't know how far behind Busher he is, and I don't know how much that would have made up for it. But
I mean, Reddick was the best car at the end, so like he wasn't. Reddick would have won if they threw that caution for Cody Ware before the white flag. By the way, if they had that one last restart, Reddick would have.
no, for sure, it's him and he had a great
He
car.
was absolutely smoking everyone. But that's not really relevant. It was just
Alex was right there. I don't want to say Alex had just as good a car, but he was right there with him up until that exchange.
I guess.
And they were on the same strategy, I believe.
They were, I believe. But no, if my memory is correct, I'm pretty sure by the point where the spin happened, Reddick had
Reddick was long gone because
he left him.
And that 3/4 of a lap, Bowman and Bubba were trading paint, and I just felt like it went too far. I think the moment where I kind of was over it, and it was kind of the same moment that Bowman spotter Hamlin called like, "We're not playing nice with this motherfucker anymore," was going into that turn 12 where Bubba basically drove him into the corner, and you could see the smoke coming off of the car and shit. I'm like, okay, that's enough.
All I'm saying is Reddick passed Bowman before Bubba, so he was not going to catch Reddick respectfully, but no.
Well, no, he was at Bubba, then Reddick caught up because Bubba was holding up Bowman so bad. He passed Bowman. It was like a 2-car pass. He drove with Reddick for like one straightaway. Reddick was gone. Bowman came up, and then the battle ensued.
Yeah,
they were right. They were right together. But
you know what? Just to wind this down for a second too. Something to think about. Denny was like, Bubba should have figured out a way to finish the race. If I'm the owner of that team, you have somewhat of a temperamental driver in Bubba. Not to say that he's always temperamental, but he's got a history.
He's gotten much better over the years, to give him credit, for sure.
Why are you not, as a spotter or a crew chief, seeing like this? Because they have all these angles that we have access to, and like, Bubba, back out. He's got fresher tires. Like, I get it, you want to like not just let him go, but like after a while, the team kind of has to step in and be like, dude, we need to finish this race. Within the top 15, we don't need to be finishing worse than Cody Ware, who smashed the wall. Cody Ware finished 26th. Bubba finished like
after 28th. He like went 100 miles per hour into the wall. He finished better.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good God.
That's what I'm saying. Like, someone should have stepped in and be like, Bubba, we get it, dude. But like, this is the bigger picture now. Like, you need to be getting points and good finishes, like Denny said. So I'd be going to the crew chief and someone along those lines and be like, hey,
what the fuck happened? Yeah.
Yeah. Why is this the case? Like, Bubba shouldn't have been doing this. He knows. Like, he probably doesn't know in the moment because, it's in the car in the heat of the battle, but he needs to have a cool head somewhere that can come in and be like, dude, let him go. It's over. He's got fresher tires. You're not keeping up with him, whatever it may be, because then that saves Bubba all that, as well as, Alex getting all the damage too. Just the simple thing, because, like, nobody does that, though, to save their driver. They're just like, fuck it. We're just going to let him take all the negative headlines and shit too. Because
I will give him major props for not exploding on pit road like I was afraid he might.
I mean, what was there to explode? What was there to explode?
Well, I'm glad that he didn't think that Bowman like was out to wreck him in that moment. I thought what Bowman thought, like, oh, he thinks that I was trying to put him into the fence,
right?
And he didn't explode. He let the cooler heads prevail, and then I think the following day he gave a pretty good interview, and that was that. So I'm glad that I think a couple years ago Bubba might have lost his shit.
Yeah, perhaps. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but he's matured. I just think, like, in a sense, like, not to say that Bubba obviously is like a hot head, because he has his moments that are popular, but he also gets a lot of spotlight because he's Bubba Wallace too. If that's another guy, you shake it off due to it being NASCAR anger, right? It's
like, if that's Carson Hocevar, we come in here being like, oh, he's like a 23-year-old dipshit. Like,
yeah. But since it's Bubba Wallace, it's naturally going to get more headlines, and I think he knows that now too. But also his team probably should have did a little bit better of a job there, and just reining their driver in, because every kind of team needs that, I feel like, in a sense.
But yep, it's going to make a pretty stressful end of the season for Wallace with that. But we'll see what happens. Plenty of races to go. A couple of tracks that Bubba's really good at.
He stays clean. The thing with Bubba that's been better this year that I'll give him is he's staying clean for the most part of the race. He's staying out of trouble for a majority of part, if he can, minus the month of May, obviously.
A lot of Bubba's issues are like stupid penalties. They're stupid,
stupid incidents that wind up screwing him.
A lot of things that are out of his control. This was the first moment where he lost it.
Yeah.
So credit to him. But races left. I mean, you got Daytona at the end of the season. He's obviously going to be effective there. I want to say that he's all right at Richmond. Am I losing my mind?
I think it's just a Toyota thing, though, whether it's him or not. But I don't know. But yeah, I think he is decent.
Yeah, he had a P4 last summer and a P13. He's going to have a shot at the end of the year to get some of these wins. Yeah. But just a frustrating situation if you're a Bubba fan.
I mean, I don't know if frustrating is the right word as much as it's very unfortunate, but like, honestly, other than the first moment he got spun before I saw the replay of what happened.
Larson, yeah.
Yeah, I was frustrated, but once I saw it, I'd be like, he probably had that coming. Shit happens. We move.
Bubba at Richmond is not bad. He's averaged a 15th place finish roughly in the last 4 races there.
Yeah, Iowa. I don't know how he finished at that gas mileage race last year.
He finished 4th at Richmond last August, 13th the March before that, and then 12th. So he's not bad at Richmond either. You know, that's another good track to point out, because I wouldn't have thought that he would be good at a Richmond for some reason. It just didn't seem like his track.
17th at Iowa. How's he at Dover? Not bad at Dover.
Yeah.
He had an accident last year, but a P12 and a P16 before that. He's gonna have a chance.
Yeah,
he's gonna have a Is Watkins
SVG spanks everybody's tail this weekend.
Yeah,
that helps make the bubble battle a little better.
Yeah,
I was rooting for SVG by the end.
Oh yeah, I was. Yeah. I remember it was Cam. He said something about like Gibbs winning. I'm like, no new winners, please.
No, we're good on that.
I'm good on that one.
That's the one spot where Bubba and Bowman fans were united this weekend. No new winners.
No new winners.
So, well, the exception would have been Reddick for a couple. Obviously, 1, a 23-11 driver, and 2, it wouldn't have moved.
Like the Chase Elliott thing, it wouldn't have moved the line.
Yeah, where it's like he basically is gonna make it, barring something crazy happening with.
Yeah, it'll be one of those where he locks in on points because he just can't lose so many points in a race.
So like with the exception of like Reddick, no new winners, please.
Yep, I think we're all rooting for SVG this weekend too.
Well, I don't. As long as it's someone who's won before, I don't really care who it is.
Okay, that was it for Chicago. So let's give our awards, and we'll have a little bit of a sidebar. I don't know if we'll need it, but I'll pitch it anyway because it's in here. And then we'll talk about Sonoma after that. But driver of the week, Cam's not here, so he gave his award to Ty Gibbs. I believe he finished 2nd.
Yeah, sounds right.
Very good. BR, I'll go to you. Who's your driver of the week?
SVG. I mean, he won 2 in the Xfinity and Cup. He won 2 poles, won 2 races, swept. Well, I guess you can't say swept the weekend when you don't win all the stages, I guess. But still, he showed why he is by far and away the best road course driver in the series right now. So SVG.
Chris.
I'm going to give it to Kyle Busch. Last 3 races, he was outside the top 20. It's been a horrible year. We've talked about it for Kyle
I
Busch.
picked a good week to pick him, huh?
Yeah, and then it's his second top 5 all year, so I'm going to give him that. Give him something.
The other top 5?
I was about to say, this ain't his first.
Coda was his other top 5.
Oh, well, there you go. Yeah.
Road course ringer, Kyle Busch.
Road course ringer, Kyle Busch.
I'm going to go with Denny Hamlin. Engine failed in practice. Started in the back. Had to fight all day. Finishes 4th at a road course.
Almost
Finished
went with
3rd in both the stages. Really good day for the 11 car. I'm going to give it to Denny Hamlin, and I didn't think too much about it. Terrorist of the week, Cam went with Carson Hocevar, the biggest dumbass in the sport, according to Austin Dillon. Ironic coming from him.
That's what I said.
Caused a 7-car pileup in that turn. Probably could have taken out a couple other cars if they weren't super careful. Ruined a lot of days. Carson Hocevar is not making many friends. Needs to start figuring out how to drive smarter. BR, who's your terrorist of the week?
Michael McDowell's engine. I think that was what failed him.
Was it the
It
engine?
was something like that. It was one of those it was one of the belts in the engine or something like that.
Yeah, he was. Frankly, he and SVG were pretty clear about over everyone else until his car went boom. He might have had something to say about SVG winning at the end if his car wanted to cooperate, but it's a expired car, so it doesn't. So
Chris.
yeah.
Oh, sorry, B. I didn't mean to step on you.
You're all good. Anyways. I was gonna go with base. I was actually gonna just give it to Spire as a whole, because of Michael McDowell's motor and then Carson Hocevar. So I'm just gonna give it to Spire for the weekend for ruining the Cup race as a whole. Because I think BR's right. It would have been funny to see Michael McDowell of all people, but I think he could have competed near the end.
I wouldn't have been laughing very hard if Mike McDowell.
No, I would not have either. No, I would not have. I'm for the sake of Bubba, I'm glad his engine failed, but he might have won the race if it didn't. So yeah, no, I'm. Yeah,
so
it would not.
I got
at all.
I got 2 honorable mention because I have one in mind. Honorable mention goes to the NASCAR officiating for letting Cody Ware basically die and not call a yellow in order to secure a white flag finish. Hate that for NASCAR. Hate that for Cody Ware. I had to sit in that car a little extra.
That was also the second time because it happened to Barry in stage 2 where he
spun and he sat there forever. Yeah,
and some people were able to go pit and be done before they threw the caution.
Yep.
There's another one. Cindric. Another honorable mention. His nose was an absolute plow this weekend, taking out a lot of drivers and spinning them, Bowman included. So Cindric's up there, but ultimately I got to give it to Bubba for not finishing that race. That if I were a Bubba fan, I would be super frustrated with that line of decision making at the end with Bowman. But like BR said, that cut line is probably going to move a couple more times. Might not be the long-term consequences of. There might not be long-term consequences of it anyway. But I'd still be super frustrated with that line of thought, the line of decision making that happened there in the exchange.
I don't know if frustrated is the right word. More so disappointed that we were
one and the same in the context that I'm using it.
I guess, yeah, but we move.
Yep, and those are your awards for the weekend. Now, before we get to Sonoma, the DraftKings brackets, whatever, I brought this up in chat, and I've been bringing it up for a little while. We all have. How about the hot streak of Legacy Motor Club in 2025? John Hunter Nemechek, 2 P6s, a P15 at a road course, a P6 at Mexico City, was able to finish that train wreck in Atlanta. And Eric Jones, not too shabby himself, with a P5 in Atlanta, a P7 in Nashville. He has another top 5 in here somewhere. Yeah, P5 at Texas. A couple of solid finishes. P11 at Michigan. P13 in Pocono. This Legacy Motor Club team has taken a huge step forward in 2025, and I just kind of wanted to give them their flowers. Chris, do you have anything to give for this Jimmy Johnson, Richard Petty team?
Yeah, I was gonna say you can tell that Jimmy's getting people in the building that know what they're doing. They're making the right moves. Their finishes are hit or miss, but they're finishing. They have finishes in the top 10, and that's the thing that like you said, give them credit for. They're not competing for wins yet, but they're getting there slowly but surely. It almost makes you think of like maybe Aspire or something. When they first started out, things weren't great, and they've progressively gotten better. That's what I like to see, what you hope to see from some of your back marker teams as things, go on. You want to see them get better and compete. So, yeah, I think it's really great for the sport overall, too. I heard something just while we're on the topic, and we can talk about it after BR gives his opinion, but saw something, and it may just be NASCAR Twitter, but Ram and Legacy Motorsport or Motor Club have been back and forth, rumored to be talking about potentially their Cup return with Ram or Ram's Cup return.
I'd be here for it. BR.
Yeah, I mean they've been good. They've had, I'd say, probably relative to expectations, the most impressive season from any team. Last season in 2023 they were frankly horrible. So yeah, Jimmy has really straightened the ship over there, and it's been good to see. I'm not going to say happens this year, but I'm going to say by this time next season, one of the two drivers have won a race, whether that's a plate track or something. They gotta get lucky with some strategy or whatever.
Listen, there's a Darlington race coming up for Eric Jones.
Yep, that's what I was about to say. You took the words out of my mouth.
Yeah. Also, I forgot to say it. And the driver of the week, honorable mention. Shout out Catherine Legg, top 20.
Yeah.
Gotta throw that in there.
Yeah.
Is she going to be the third legacy car in 2026?
I hope.
Me and Chris are still mad at her for ruining Casey Kane Day, but yeah, that's legacy. That's your legacy minute. Sonoma. So I can't pull up our bracket, but I believe none of our drivers are in it anymore. In the top 4, with Chase Elliott getting bounced, with Kyle Larson getting bounced. I forget who was on the other end. I think Busher and
Kyle Busch. I thought.
Is Kyle Busch still in it?
I don't think
That'd be. Ooh, that's a good question.
Is Kyle Busch still in it? NASCAR in-season tournament. No. He was eliminated after. Was he eliminated in Atlanta?
I think so. Yeah, he was eliminated in Atlanta because he had the damage too.
Who was he facing off against?
Let me see.
Oh, Brad.
Yep.
Who was fighting for the win. Well, then you ask who's left. Well, we got Ty Dillon versus Alex Bowman. We got John Hunter Nemechek versus Eric Jones. We got Ty Gibbs versus Zane Smith. And Ryan Preece versus Tyler Reddick. As a Bowman fan, I'm not going to count out Ty Dillon at all. But overall, the heavy hitters of what's left is Preece versus Reddick and Nemechek versus Jones. Here in Sonoma. Yeah, so I don't think we have anybody from our Final 4 left.
No, I don't believe so.
Maybe Ty Gibbs.
Yeah, maybe Gibbs, but no, I don't believe.
Gibbs or Reddick, I want to say.
Yeah, because I know the final was Elliott versus Larson.
Yeah, and for some reason I can't pull up the bracket that we had.
Yeah,
it's just not letting me pull it up.
We're guaranteed.
Oh, there it is. I got it. Yeah, nobody's left. They're all done. They're all dead.
Who was the other two semifinalists?
Cindric and Busch.
Yeah.
I believe Cindric was taken out at Atlanta.
That sounds right. Yeah, because
But we do still have Ty Gibbs in our Elite Eight. That's what's left.
Woohoo!
If Ty Gibbs goes all the way, we can say, hey, we had it-ish.
I'm leaving here with something.
Leaving here with something.
One driver in the Elite Eight. I think that's more than what most people can say. But yeah, Sonoma, wine country. It's much longer than the Chicago street course. We have 110 laps of this, 218 miles. About 219 miles, actually. 350 is just a number. In the Toyota Save Mart 350. We're all kind of dreading this. It's going to be a snoozer. It's going to go on way too long. Like, maybe that's the fix to road courses. Just cut the length.
Or no stage breaks at the very freaking least. Like,
you don't want stage breaks?
Not at road courses. I mean, what is the point? Cautions are already long enough when we have those naturally occurring. I want to say
that they did that in 23 at the first COTA race.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they experimented with it, and it was good. I enjoyed it. Yeah. You get some strategy that's able to be worked in too. People aren't just playing around stage breaks at that point.
Fun fact: that's the first race I covered running for Belly Up. That was the first race I did.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I'd be okay with that. Shorten again or just taking stage breaks out.
Maybe both. Who knows?
Maybe.
But yeah. Do we have anything to add as far as expectations? Like we're gonna be here for a while.
It's another race. I mean, it's another race of all time. That's about the best line we can give it for Sonoma.
Yeah.
At this point, last year's was a snooze fest. There were 11 lead changes among 9 different drivers last year. Only 4 of those drivers led more than 5 laps. So, and the ones that did lead more than 5 laps, 3 out of them led more than 20 laps. So it's going to probably be one leader for a long period of time.
Probably Shane Van Gisbergen.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I mean, I just don't feel like it's going to be – it's not worth complaining about because we're used to it at this point. But, yeah, it'll be another race of all time.
The only thing I remember about the race last year is Martin Truex Jr. losing gas on the final straightaway and like barely crossing it at like a snail's pace.
At a snail's pace, yep. And the whole like crowd erupting because they were just happy he got there.
Kyle Larson won it, right?
Yes, Kyle Larson won.
The best finish at this track, average finish, is Chris Buescher with a 3, Michael McDowell with a 4, and Chase Elliott with a 5.7. As far as our favorite drivers, Chase Elliott obviously 5.7. Ryan Blaney with a 14.7 is next. Alex Bowman with a 15.3. Never finished in the top 10. Has like 3 straight top 15 finishes. Yeah, 15, 15, 16. And Bubba Wallace 24.3.
That was not necessary.
Most laps led belongs to Martin Truex Jr. in 3 races. Obviously, he's not going to be a factor. So Daniel Suarez is next with 47. He obviously has the win here in 2022. Since then, P22, P14. Guy's going to be out of a job here pretty soon. Kyle Larson with 45. After that, he's got a P1, a P8, and a P15. Reddick could be a factor. He got a P8 last year after a P33 and a P35 before that. Joey Logano quietly leading a lot of laps here as well. P21 after winning the pole last year, P3 and 23. Best average rating is Chris Buescher by a wide margin. He's the only driver to have 3 top 5 finishes in the last 3 races, a 3, a 4, and a 2. So expect Chris Buescher to go early in your drafts. I guess Shane Van Gisbergen didn't run this race last year.
I don't think so. Yeah.
No.
He probably should have.
Yeah.
Although he did win the Xfinity race. So.
Yeah, he ran the full Xfinity season last year, though.
All right, so let's go through our bracket challenge. Pick our props. First matchup is Ryan Preece versus Tyler Reddick.
I'm going to take Reddick just because he seems to be getting better recently. Like, he's more consistent. So it's a road course. He's really good at these. I'm just going to go with Reddick. Preece isn't no slouch, but still.
Yeah, Preece actually has a. He actually has a higher average finish here than Tyler Reddick. But Tyler Reddick was in an RCR shitbox, and I believe in 23 he suffered damage. So take that what you will. BR, you also on the Reddick train?
Yeah, might as well.
I'll go with you. Alex Bowman versus Ty Dillon. I'm going to take Alex Bowman, but would anybody be shocked if Ty Dillon pulled this one out?
No. That's the black magic curse. I think BR kind of mentioned the black magic around it. I think that's Ty Dillon has the black magic right now.
Yeah, so. Satanic. I am gonna take Ty Dillon just because it'd be funny. I of the guys who are left, I want him to win it just because it would be a shit post.
He can finish second and Bowman can finish third. I'd be okay with that. But yeah, Ty Gibbs versus Zane Smith. Gonna take Ty Gibbs. Not really thinking about it. Zane Smith, I don't think is like anything at a road course.
He's hit or miss. Like, he had good practice at Chicago. He looked like he was gonna have a good practice, and then he totaled the
P16 here last year in the Spire car.
So I think Zane's a little bit slept on right now over there. But I think so is Noah Gragson. I don't really care as much for Todd Gilliland because I thought he'd be better. But
again, he's totally bit us in the ass, hasn't he?
Yeah.
But yeah, take Ty Gibbs. Don't really think about it.
Yep.
And then Nemechek versus Jones. I'm going to take Nemechek.
I will too.
I'll take Jones just to be different, but really I could go either way.
Well, the majority. Chris, did you take Bowman or Ty Dillon?
I'm going to take Dillon just for black magic purposes.
So if you put $10 down on a parlay of Reddick, Dillon, Gibbs, and Nemechek, you're going to make $93.
Well, all right then.
And as far as race winners, it's SVG versus the field. SVG has a plus 140. Next highest is Kyle Larson at a plus 500.
Plus 400 difference there. That just shows you the odds makers and know he's like gonna show everybody out. And
Cam called this a Hendrick Motorsports playground. This track, I feel like it's soon going to be SVG's playground. But winners not named SVG. BR, who are you going with?
It didn't work last week, but I'm gonna do it again. Chris Buescher, best finish. Sonoma, best finish in the next gen era, and in the next gen era, best finishes on road courses in general. So yeah, it's boring to pick SVG.
Did that change with the damn near DNF last week?
I don't know. It may have skewed.
I didn't look, to be honest with you. I didn't care to look, but if he's still not number one, he's number two, or whatever.
At road courses, come on, load.
But yeah. Anyways,
nope, it didn't change. It just got a little closer between him and Van Gisbergen.
Yeah, it sounds.
It's a 9.3 versus a 9.8.
Yeah, so it's boring.
It's Elliott right there with a 10.2.
It's boring to pick SVG at a road course, so
that's why I said somebody different.
Yeah, I'll pick Chris Buescher like I did last week.
And for the record, Cam went with Ty Gibbs. Chris, winner not named Shane Van Gisbergen.
Yeah, I went with the 17 and Buescher as well. In my notes over here, just for the same reason. Plus, he's got the best finishing average in the last three there. He led 30 plus laps. I think it was 32 laps last year. So I think the win's coming for Buescher. It's just a matter of when. And he won at Watkins Glen last year, so he proves again he's a good road racer, which is kind of shocking because most people wouldn't think he is.
Yeah, very quiet, but
yeah.
How's he do it here? Not bad. Okay, I'll take Seabell.
Yeah.
Due for a good run. Due for a win.
Yeah.
William Byron's also up there, but I don't know if I trust him right now.
He needs
the
to
way
get through practice first.
Yeah. That, and you know who else has been quietly disappointing lately? Kyle Larson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just one top 5 since the win at Kansas.
That's crazy to think about, but not super surprising because you kind of come to expect Kyle Larson's either going to win or be irrelevant.
Yeah.
So
he's got 3 top 10s since the Coke 600. A P36 at Mexico City. I want to say he wrecked or something.
I would have to imagine, yeah.
At Atlanta, he did finish the race, although suffering some damage. At Pocono, he finished 7th. And Chicago Street Course, he finished 13th. Just not what I was expecting from Larson post Indy. Maybe the Indy 500 gotten to him a little bit of a confidence issue. I remember I just want to talk about that for a brief second. Talk about Kyle Larson's kind of in a funk right now. But yeah, all right. So as far as odds go, Chris Buescher is plus 1,400 for a race win. No lines yet for top 5 or top 3. We did it a little early.
Yeah.
Christopher Bell is a plus 1,400 as well. As far as our favorite drivers, Chase Elliott plus 1,400, Ryan Blaney plus 2,500, Alex Bowman plus 2,800, Bubba Wallace plus 13,000.
That was not necessary.
What's Ty Gibbs at?
I believe he's second. Third, plus 1,100.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, go get your bets in. John Hunter Nemechek, plus 13,000 as well. Ryan Preece, plus 8,000. Cindric, plus 8,000. That could be sneaky. Daniel Suarez, plus 45. A lot of good bets out there. I'll wait to see what the top 5, top 10s look like. But yeah, Chris, what do we got coming this week?
Picks, and I'm probably going to put out power rankings this week. I'm going to try to probably at least stay with every 2 weeks, if not every week. But parenting's hard, summer vacation, so we're just going to stretch it out.
Yeah, you're right in the thick of summer vacation, aren't you?
Yeah, we've only got luckily in Georgia, about 4 more weeks. They go back to school on August the 6th, so
I'll be getting excited for Bristol yet?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited for Bristol.
Sweet. Maybe we'll do a second podcast with the group that we'll have there.
Bristol? Yeah.
Yeah. Do it right in the Airbnb. BR, thanks for coming on again.
Yep.
You've been here every week. Next week, you said you're not going to be here doing anything fun?
No, not. In fact, no. It's a doctor appointment.
Not fun at all.
No.
But that's stinks. I had to miss the show for non-fun reasons too, so I get it.
Yeah, me too. Either way, thanks for coming on again. Thank you all for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you follow the show on Twitter and Facebook. And yeah, we'll see you again next week after Sonoma, heading into Dover. We'll see you then.